You're listening to the Everyone But Us podcast, straight from the heart of London.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the special edition coronavirus Everyone But Us podcast. You know my voice, you know who I am. My name's Lewis. And who are you?
My name's Waymer.
And who are you?
Suge White.
That's who. You heard it right. You heard it right. But anyway, this is episode 20, a special one, because obviously we're all on lockdown at the moment. So please excuse us as everything is a little bit sort of like interrupted and delayed and whatnot. But we're trying to make it work in obviously difficult circumstances, as you guys know who are listening currently. But anyway, enough of me with all the jibber jabber small talk shit. Let me get right into it. So this is our 20th episode. And we thought, well, not me actually, it was Wema who made the initial, the initial approach to get this guest on. So without further ado, I want to introduce our very special guest, as Wema will sometimes say, our special guest. We got Richie Krutch, also Richie Wisdom in Chains over from Pennsylvania. So big up yourself, Rich.
Hello.
Thank you very much, fellas. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man, it's kind of mad and kind of not difficult to do this one, because obviously normally we're in the studio with each other, sort of like be able to talk to each other, could we see each other, we're feeling each other, not in that kind of way, feeling each other. But
yeah, I don't know what happens when I go out to get my cup of tea at the break, but
nothing happens, mate. Nothing happens. Richie, how you doing anyway? How you doing in America so far?
Not bad, man. I'm just probably in the same situation you guys are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. Everyone's just on a lockdown fucking flavor at the moment. But as I said at the beginning, this is the coronavirus special. We just wanted to obviously touch on it. None of us are experts. We're just giving our opinion, and obviously with some of the facts that are going on around the world, and obviously in our own respective countries. And we just want to sort of like see where we're at and see what we can come up with. So obviously we'll just take it in turns and see what we're going to say and go from there. But obviously we need to start with where this thing started from. Like, so where did it start? Where did the coronavirus start? It's
Beckton.
Beckton.
Coronavirus started in Beckton.
Yeah.
Coronavirus started in the Great Wall, the takeaway by fucking the A13, isn't it? That's not racist, by the way. I'm not trying to go like Donald Trump, yeah. I ain't trying to go like Trump, yeah.
Now, that's the thing, though. Where it started depends on who you ask. If you ask China, they're claiming it started in America.
Really?
That's what they're saying. If you ask anyone else, they're saying it started in China. Some people are saying it started in the laboratory. What do we know? I mean, I guess the official story is China, right?
Official story is that it was first detective. Well, I am a detective, a shit one though, like. But yeah, it was first detected in a wet market, as they're called. So basically, they have live animals and dead animals together, what they chop up and cook and eat and whatnot. But you can just basically buy all sorts of different exotic animals and stuff at these markets. But this place is obviously Wuhan. This is the place where it started.
You know what? The term wet market, man, is just grim. Because it
is disgusting.
It just sounds like sloppy wet guts.
Yeah.
All over the fucking floor.
I don't know what to think of it. Like, when I heard it, it's like wet market. It's like, what do you mean wet market? Is it slippery and shit? Like, everyone all fucking sliding all over the place and that, like, entrails and shit like that. Like.
Probably.
Sounds like Soho.
That's it.
Now, what is the official story? Is that the official story in the UK? It started in China wet market.
That's the official story, that it was in the wet market in Wuhan. And the first I heard about it was it before Christmas time? That's when it happened. Like, because obviously we need to remember one thing. Does anyone remember what was going on around Christmas time when this story first happened?
A heavy sickness.
No.
There was wildfires going on in Australia.
Oh, you are right.
Oh, yeah.
You are right.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So obviously everyone's attention, rightly so, because it was a serious thing. The fucking country was pretty much on fire. Everyone was obviously donating and paying special attention to Australia in their time of need, because obviously it was a serious thing going on. But authorities in countries, well, in the major countries all over the world, they were obviously alerted and told that there was something going on in China where people were mysteriously falling sick, and it was starting to catch, and people were going into hospital and obviously not coming out alive. I mean, as I said, I'm no expert. I'm just going off for what the official narrative is. I'm like using common quotation marks as well. So I don't know. What have you guys heard about the whole thing when it first originally started? Go on, Wemma. Tell me what you know.
I heard that basically the meat was from tested animals, and then somehow it's got onto the black market, and then that was sold, then eaten, and then the rest is history, really. But the funny thing is, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun with it, I've had a lot of clips sent to me of like old films or TV series where they mention coronavirus, and they mention everything that's happening now, and you think, wow, that's a mad coincidence. Have you guys had any videos, seen any videos like that?
Yeah, I've heard about these videos. I mean, there's something called Netflix, apparently, isn't it? The TV show, where there's one episode, and if you scroll all the way through to like 1 hour or something, or 40-something minutes in the thing,
that's it.
And it starts talking about a particular strain, because coronavirus is a family of viruses. There's different viruses that come underneath coronavirus. So that's where you got SARS that happened at the beginning of the 21st century in Asia, and then there's another one called the MERS, which is a Middle Eastern strain of the virus, and obviously now we've got this one, which is the COVID-19. But obviously it's called the coronavirus, as obviously people hear it in the simpler terms. What about you, Steve? Have you heard anything of how it came about and whatnot?
Do you know what? In my experience, all of these things have always ended up being nothing. So you had the SARS scare, you had the whatever else scare, swine flu, blah, 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 blah.
Correct.
And then I just thought, this will be a thing for a couple of weeks, and then they'll get it under control, and then it'll be all right again. And then we'll just forget about it again. And there'll be a few jokes about it, doing the rounds on WhatsApp, and that'll be it. And then I don't know when it was, but I know there was a moment where I thought, oh shit, this is actually coming. I can't even remember now when that was. I think that was sometime in maybe late January. And I thought, this is coming for us. I think it was when we had the first case of someone getting it outside of quarantine.
Yeah, I mean,
as soon as it gets into the general public, you're done. Like, you're done with something like this. It's coming.
That's it. I mean, obviously, we'll touch upon that a little, not too further into the future of this conversation we're having, but we will definitely touch upon that. Our first sort of like inkling of shit, this is actually fucking happening. But Richie, do you want to touch on anything about it more in relation to when you first heard about the virus, or have you heard anything prior to that?
I heard about it maybe late January was the earliest I heard about it, and I didn't take too much interest in it. I think I took interest in it when I heard that South by Southwest was canceled.
Yeah.
And then I said, wow, if these guys are taking a hit, then this may be a legitimate thing, not just a media scare or, you know, some kind of goofy craze, because the rich guys don't take hits over hoaxes. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So when I heard them taking the hit, I took it serious, and I started looking into it. And yeah, I saw, you know, because there was early on everybody saying, oh, you know, the flu does this corona's not shit, or oh, corona's on the back of a Lysol can, this is nothing new. You know, everybody jumps the gun and ends up looking real stupid a month later. And so I looked, what is corona? Then like Lewis said, it's a group. it's a family. Within that family is this new one, COVID-19, 19 based on the year it was discovered. They say it was first discovered in November 2019.
Yeah.
I started just doing some homework and trying to look legit. And as of now, it seems like it's the real deal. But I'm always skeptical to a degree, and it's when you don't physically see what it causes, it's hard for some personalities to submit to it. You know what I mean? And I really haven't physically seen it. I only heard about things. I'm taking it serious. I'm doing what they recommend, but I am slightly skeptical of the big picture, to be honest. I got to be honest.
What do you guys, just quickly, just on what you said, what do you guys think about all these conspiracy theorist people that say, oh, it's been put out there on purpose to control us and blah, 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 blah.
Conspiracy theorists will fucking create a theory for anything that happens ever. There's always a fucking conspiracy.
That's Steve. Sorry to cut you off there, Steve, but yeah, anytime there's something happens, but sometimes when something big happens like that, you kind of think, are the conspiracy theorists right? Like, I mean, they do kind of have a point, because if this fucking thing is just taken hold and it's going around the world, and people can say that this is creating a lab or there's bioweapons that can be used on people, because we have to remember, like, there's pretty much most parts of the world now are under lockdown in their country. Like you can't, movement has been restricted. Like, economies have been fucking trashed. People are fucking losing their jobs. Healthcare systems are under strain. So if someone who does believe in that sort of thing, they would kind of think like, yo, shit, this is some fucking real NWO type fucking shit trying to take over whatnot. So I don't know, like, it seems far-fetched, but who knows what the truth is, man. The truth is somewhere in the middle, as someone once said. I can't remember who said that exactly, but yeah.
You know what? I think that this will be taken advantage of. And I believe it's a real thing, but I know that there's really devious people that will see opportunity in this, and they will push certain legislation that they might have wanted 10 years ago, but there was no way to obtain because of like such a skeptical. 100%. Yeah, I think by the end of this, you might see a push to a one currency system. You might see a push towards pure digital money. You know, in certain countries, no bills, and that's something that some conspiracy theorists have been talking that they wanted for years. So
yeah,
you know what? Actually, today, I don't know if you've heard this, but in Hungary,
I did hear that.
It's
I hear it as well.
Become a dictatorship, and there's nothing in that new constitution, that emergency constitution. There's nothing in there that says when it's going to end. So it's a prime opportunity for anyone who wants to start ruling the roost.
Someone cutting their hair in the background or something.
No, I have. I'm in my bunker right now, and that was something, an animal or a person broke a digital plane I have outside. It's like a little alarm that sounds.
Oh, see.
Yeah. So,
Vic. So yeah, for people who don't know, the Hungarian, well, he was the prime minister. Oh, yeah, I think he's prime minister. Well, he's pretty much a soft dictator now, a hard dictator. They've changed their constitution because they put in emergency laws to deal with the coronavirus, and he's just made himself almost ruler for life. So they've suspended all elections now. What else is there, Steve?
He's got the right just to do whatever the fuck he wants. There's no voting.
If him or any one of his officials or the news say that something is fake news, you can be put in prison for up to 5 years. They've just got some mad fucking like it's basically pure fascism, like pure fucking fascism and authoritarianism that they've literally done over there. And as Richie said, they will use governments will use this to put in that they would not have been able to do during sort of like a regular normal occurrence, because no one's gonna fucking take that or or accept it in a
What
standard.
I think we can surmise from this, though, is the fact that if some crazy dictator nut job in Hungary is doing that, all of our fucking nut jobs are going to be doing their own kind of shit. Whatever they can get away with, they're going to get away with it.
The three hosts of Everyone But Us podcasts, right? Who is the most non-skeptical of the three hosts?
Me.
Wima?
I would say Lewis is the most skeptical, then Steve, then me.
Okay,
I see things from both sides of the coin. I try, but yeah, I would say.
Okay, as the least skeptical person on that team right there, do you find anything going on right now slightly fishy?
The thing is, I think the point I was trying to make before is there's always going to be someone that's going to see an opportunity in this. So the right thing to do right now is to say to every country, look, let's freeze all the markets. Let's sort this out. No one loses money, and we just pick up where we left off. But they can't do that because there's always going to be someone somewhere that's going to see an opportunity in it. So because they're thinking, oh, he's going to do it, so then they think, I've got to do it. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're saying, but you don't see you don't see this itself as anything that might be devious. Or no.
I think in order for something of this level to be, all countries, every world leader would have to be involved. It's too much. It's too much.
Okay, what you said right there, you're right. Every world leader would have to be involved. Are you familiar with the age-old conspiracy theory of the New World Order?
No, I don't believe. I don't know much about it. You'd have to explain it to me. I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
It's basically the push for a one world government, and something like this would make the people that followed that conspiracy theory for years. This would make them feel that they are justified in all their rhetoric. So this could go in any direction.
Yeah, but who would control that one world order?
So you were saying the question was who controls these one world organizations, or who's in charge? And most people who believe this theory would say it's part of the banking cartel. They're the ones who are in charge of it because they're the ones who control the money, and then play things like the Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, and then Vatican and shit like that. They're the ones who are involved in all this sort of like one world conspiracy. But the thing for me, which I don't understand, if there's a one world conspiracy, like where does the Chinese communists come into it? Like where does the North Korean communists and that come into it? Like because they're ideologically opposed. Capitalism and communism are opposed, but obviously China's a different kettle of fish because like they have hyper capitalism and they have their communism for their people, for the regular people at the same time. So I don't know, like where
you're right. You're right. Like, where would China come into it? But as you said, China right now isn't a communist country as we know it. It's some hybrid. But at the same time, look what this causes. This almost will cause all of the original banking cartels you mentioned to turn on China, to put all their efforts against China after this, because they will be blamed for this. They'll be blamed by everyone but themselves after this.
They're getting blamed now.
Exactly. So
it
might be a move to exclude China and not involve them. And if it is, they'll have only one choice. They'll have to submit to it.
Push back their economy 20 years.
Exactly.
Because they're coming up strong.
How go on.
The Chinese basically just bought Italy, and they've been buying African countries for years through infrastructure deals. And nobody's really noticing. But I think that governments like Germany, America, Russia, they're noticing what China's doing. And China is making a move to rule the planet without firing a single shot.
That's it, because the Chinese buy up large swathes of the housing boom that happened in our country, like especially in London where loads of flats and that were bought by rich Chinese and rich Russian people, businessmen and women, people who just got money. And then on the other hand as well, what was the other thing I was going to mention as well? Richie, you just had it. You just had it right there. You just said it right there. It'll probably come back to me again. But like, they've got an opportunity to get in there because they do have a lot of money. And that's it. Sorry. They were going to build a power station in the UK, Hinkley Point. They were going to do something there. And I think that never happened. And then that Huawei, the mobile phone company, which is Chinese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've obviously been banned from doing shit in America because Donald Trump wasn't fucking feeling it. But here in the UK, they've been in charge of, we're going to be put in charge of doing the 5G connection. Now, that's another conspiracy that comes into this whole coronavirus thing. Saying that, wait. Bro, I don't believe it. This is all I hear. Like, I'm not believing this shit. This is what I hear when people say, like, because, but the other conspiracy with this coronavirus thing is that it isn't from eating bat soup or some other crazy shit that people are fucking thinking of. It's apparently the rollout of 5G is what's making people sick. It's the fucking mobile phone network, 5G, making people sick. That's the other conspiracy.
I've heard that mobile phones came out though.
What? 5G's been in China for a while.
Yeah, I don't think that's a very good conspiracy theory, but it does exist. Lewis is right.
Yeah.
There's a group of people that believe that. But there's one. Have you guys ever heard of
QAnon?
Yes. Yes.
QAnon.
Yes. Now that conspiracy theory is they're out there. They're crazy, these people, okay? They believe what's going on right now is a hoax. But it's a hoax for the benefit of the people, while the Trump administration and good people around the world are currently rounding up ruthless elite pedophiles like Prince Charles, like the Australian Prime Minister, like, they're just you name them. They believe right now there's mass arrest going on, and we're led to believe stay in the house, don't go out, mind your business during these times while they go to work and save the planet from ruthless elite pedophiles. That's a conspiracy theory that a lot of people believe.
Why couldn't they do that when everyone's at work?
I don't know. I don't know why they can't.
Why can't they do that when everyone's at work?
I've still got the internet. I can still read the news. I can still. What's the difference between?
They think it would be too much for us to handle, right? But this is the thing. They've been making false, guesses that, predictions since probably 2017. But every once in a while, they predict something right, and their whole base gets energized. So they predicted that Prince Charles would anyone that comes down with the coronavirus, like Tom Hanks. They said Tom Hanks will come down with the coronavirus, and he did. And then they say the reason he did it is to stay away from getting arrested, to stay in Australia, where the prime minister will also come down with the virus. Yeah. And then that guy, it's a crazy theory, but we're talking about different. None of us are saying.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like to follow everything because it makes me sure that I'm living amongst people that I have to look over my shoulder at all times. Everybody is a sick, deranged maniac. So I like to know what people really believe. And I know people personally that believe this. And it's crazy,
Alex Jones. Alex Jones said anything yet?
I would love to know.
Alex Jones said anything?
He has no way to really say anything anymore. And that's another thing people say. He was stripped. He was stripped of his voice. He was stripped of his show, of his internet access, his Facebook access.
He's been wiped away totally.
Yeah, he's not on Twitter. Yeah, he's not on Twitter anymore. He's not on YouTube. He's not on Facebook. He literally got deplatformed. Now, I don't like Alex Jones. He is a scumbag, especially with the Sandy Hook shit. Like, he's a scumbag. Yeah. Like, people legit lost their children in a school massacre, and he's been basically hounding the parents for years. He's gone to a court case and shit.
Saying that was in on it.
Yeah, saying that was in it. That's not right in that. Like, but the thing with America is they got if someone does something like that, you take them to court and you have your day in court, but you still have your First Amendment right where you got freedom of speech. Of course, if it's hateful and inciting violence and that, then yeah, that's a problem. You go to prison, you come up against the law. But when you deplatform someone like Alex Jones, who is a right winger, what's to say they won't deplatform somebody who's a left winger trying to tell the truth? Because they're like, we don't like what you got to say. And you might be telling the truth and might be helping people, but they can definitely deplatform you if they want. There was a whole purge on YouTube where they purged all fucking supposedly leftist sites, or sites that were sort of like not left of center, but basically left sites that were basically telling the truth about certain things, about the Democratic Party, about the media. They just deplatformed. The YouTube just fucking got rid of loads of fucking channels. I forgot what it was called. I think it was it was like a demonetizer thing, but they had a name for it that it'll happen when it happened. But yeah, loads of sites just disappeared. Facebook's the same as well. Yeah. They just get rid of shit. If they don't like your narrative, they'll just fucking get rid of you, and that's what they do. It's Wayman disappeared.
Wayman just disappeared.
He got nervous. The conversation got him nervous. He bounced.
No, I'm sorry, my phone died.
No, check it out. What Lewis just said, he's right. But then at the same time, YouTube, Facebook, these are like private companies.
Yeah.
How do you regulate these? But at some point, companies get so big where if we're willing to give companies bailouts, then they should also, in my opinion, be somehow in the interest of society and be part of, we should own stock shares in companies that we give bailouts to. And they, at this point, companies get so big that we think it's a freedom of speech. It's just part of everyday life, but it's really not, But at the same time, we never foresaw this. When laws were written in England or America, we didn't foresee a platform like Facebook, that's bigger than the government itself as far as getting words out and information. So it's a hard thing, man. Who knows what's the right thing to do? And where's everyone getting their information on this virus? Mostly from Facebook posts. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
And it's funny, well, not funny, but it's interesting you just tied in, you just spoke briefly upon that, Richie, because I'm going to bring that into the next question in relation to the coronavirus and the response, obviously, by countries around the world to help people, because obviously this has shut down everything. What's been shut down? Airline industry has been shut down. The fucking stock markets have been shut down. Mm-hmm. People who work in construction jobs, people who have got businesses that are small businesses that have been like trying to get their piece and trying to do their thing, they've all been shut down. The only things that are still running are essential workers. And obviously, I want to say big up all the people who are essential workers, all the healthcare workers, all the people who are working in emergency services, trying to make do and help people during this particular crisis that we've got at the moment. But we noticed, you just said about stocks, buying stocks in companies and shit. Like, if these companies want to be bailed out, because when this crisis started getting bigger, me and Wema, we're always talking. Like, we always got our chat groups and shit and our bands and everyone but us, etc. But yeah, it's healthy debate, innit? Like, we see things from different things, but we never let it get personal. You know what I mean? And that's like why that's why we're polarized a lot in the UK, America, and around the world. Everyone's polarized because you might not see eye to eye, but you shouldn't fall out over something like so silly as fucking politics. We should be having ideas which can fucking benefit all our lives. But I was basically saying, or having a conversation with Wemmer, saying like, so people might lose their jobs through this corona thing because obviously the markets and that are fucked up and shit. Like, but then all of a sudden, Steve will back me up in this. You got people like Richard Branson that owns Virgin Atlantic. The guy is a fucking billionaire. And he comes out and he's like to the government, I want you to bail out my business and the rest of the wider industry as well.
Yeah. Yes. How about you sell your fucking island, you prick? Pay some fucking taxes. Fuck.
See, I agree with that, but my argument was, if Virgin was to go down, who's going to suffer more, Richard Branson or all his employees?
No, that's true, but they shouldn't be used as leverage.
No, but no, answer the question. Answer the question. I agree with you morally, but answer the question. I'll pose a question to all three of you.
Well, I would say that Weimer's completely right, and Branson is in the position of having leverage over governments themselves, because so many people would lose their jobs. But this is the thing. We all talk and we say we want a business in America. Everybody said we want a businessman as a president, a businessman. Well, capitalism works to a degree, but when you have to bail out businesses every 10 years, I don't see the point of having a businessman as the sole leader. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Branson, he should get a bailout because a lot of people's livelihoods are on the line, but he should get it with a stipulation. He should get it with stipulations showing that these people have to keep their jobs. They have to have an average rate of pay increase that would match society's increase each year, that he can't let people go without good reason, that he can't buy his own stock, and that he can't use any of this bailout money for anything except keeping his business alive. Anything to make his business bigger should be used by other funds that he has to prove those funds came from profits rather than from the bailout. So there should be some stipulations. But Weimer's right. Weimer's right. People will be hurt more than Branson. Branson, I don't know how. Let's just say he employs 30,000 people. 30,000 people will be hurt if we say fuck that guy. He's got so much money, let his business rot. And then if we do that, one guy, 30,000 hurt. If we bail him out, we can make everybody happy, but not without stipulations. Not the blank check method we used in the past. That doesn't work.
Steve, do you want to add anything on that, mate?
No, I'd agree with that. I mean, they've got to be like, when it comes to these huge businesses, they can't be allowed to just get their own way all the time, and that's what they've been allowed to do, is get their own way all the time.
I agree with that.
They need to be put in a fucking place and be told, you are businesses, you're employing people, and that's great, and we love that. But you've got to give something back. You've got to become, if it's an opportunity for anything, maybe it's an opportunity to get big business to become a little bit more morally conscious and a bit less fucking shithouse. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Some people are really scared of this thought, but this is the way I see it. Who's bailing who out? Taxpayers are bailing out a big business. So then in my mind, taxpayers should own a portion of that business. A portion of that business should be left to the federal government and should generate revenues for taxes. And in that case, people could make out. Now, would these same businesses be asking for a bailout if that was the case? Because I find it hard to believe that some of these businesses can't survive this with the amount of profit they've had for the last decade. You're talking.
They're like fucking mafia.
Yeah.
They're like fucking mafia, mate. They shake down the fucking taxpayer. Like, they act like mafia fucking don bosses. Like, and
well, they shake us down because they can, because we voted for people who take their handouts.
Yeah.
There's people here that say if you're in the government, you shouldn't be able to take any money from any corporation, any group, any more from a single person than maybe $10,000 and blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, the American people don't really push for that. You see like an AOC type who says senators and Congress people shouldn't even be allowed to own stock. And I get that. That makes sense to me. But she's villainized with heavy money to make her look like an idiot, like a moron that doesn't know anything. But she's villainized by the people who are making out from the policies she's trying to change. To me, it's obvious. It's as light as anybody can see it. But it's a big battle, man. It's been a battle going maybe for the last 20 years in America.
I'm not sure if Steve and women know about it, but who Richie just mentioned. There's a congresswoman, Alexandria. Yeah, you know her, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She basically put that out because a senator basically had inside information before the coronavirus was actually a big thing. They had like briefings and shit, and basically got a heads up and then fucking took all their stock out or sold their stock and shit, so they wouldn't lose anything. And that's fucking wrong. Like, who are you? Are they serving the people of their state, or are they just serving to fucking serve themselves? And I think it's the latter. they all just go to serve themselves all the time, and it's fucking wrong. But I wanted to have my little take on the whole thing with the government, with the bailouts and shit. Yeah, this might sound a bit fucking raw, yeah, and I don't want anyone to fucking lose their job, let alone people who fucking start from the bottom up and make something for themselves and are good fucking people, good managers. When they do well, everyone in their fucking company does well. I don't know how much bonuses Richard Branson gives to his fucking staff who are on the ground floor. End of the day, the people who are the staff make a fucking company thrive and make a company generate all these profits. And then there's customers as well who are paying for this shit that makes you do fucking well. But it always seems to be the thing that when there's boom times, all the big companies and corporations, they privatize all the fucking gains, all the fucking profits. They make big, massive amounts of money, and they keep them all for themselves. And then when it's time for these bust times, and obviously coronavirus is a massive fucking bust because it's a fucking global pandemic. It's not. This is bigger than the financial crash in 2008 that we all went through. Yeah, this is fucking obviously huge. They want to socialize the fucking losses again onto the fucking taxpayer and burden us with the fucking shit. So sometimes I feel companies do have to fucking fold so people fucking realize that this can't continue, because what's going to happen? We bail out these fucking companies and then, everything goes back to normal. And then it's like, yo, we bailed you out. We need you to fucking sort out your fucking workers and that. No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Because that's what Wall Street fucking did after the 2008 crash. Those companies sold fucking horrible fucking mortgages to people, knowing that they were fucking horrible. And then they foreclosed people's fucking homes in America. And then they got a bailout. And then they continued business as fucking usual. Like, what's the fucking limit? What is the limit? And that's my whole argument. But as I said, I don't want anyone to do. I don't lose my fucking job. No one wants to lose their fucking job. At the moment, we're all under. I'm not sure how it is for you at the moment, Richie. Like, but I'm gonna be furloughed. I'm gonna be getting my wages 80% paid by the government in the next couple of weeks. My company's cool, but it's just fucking one of them ones. So, Wem, if you want to touch any more on that, or done with that?
No, I agree with you. I'm just it's a hard one, and I agree with everything that you guys have said. I just think you can't do one without affecting the other, basically.
Yeah.
So I always say, what's the less of two evils? And I know you said a quote about picking no evils or something, or some. Was that your reply one time to me, Lewis?
Oh, you said you always go for the lesser two. You always go for the
lesser two evils. When you said to me something about not choosing it, I can't remember what your reply was.
Sometimes it's like, sometimes you don't have a choice. Like, why do you have to choose the fucking the lesser of the two evils? Both of the evils are both fucking shit. Like, so let it fucking crash and burn, and we start fucking again. But maybe not everyone wants to start again. And I'm in the minority of people who don't want it to fucking who want it to. I don't want it to per se crash and burn and everyone's fucking fighting and scrapping in the streets for fucking what's left and that. No, but sometimes
that's what will happen, though.
Or maybe people fucking vote. Well, we'll see.
This is the thing. With your tactic, that's like a hard lesson style of tactic, right? But this is the thing. After that happens, after they crash and burn, what's next? They take their remaining money and they hit the press, and they showed how these incompetent senators and congressmen and people in government didn't give them that bailout. Now that's why you're out of work. And that's 100%. What the people will be fed. They won't suddenly think, wow, now I see the light. Now I see how this really works. Let's be honest. People could care less how it really works. They joined a team, and they're going to stick on their team. And what their team tells them is going to be their source of news that they go with. And I think that side, the corporations, they just have too much power and influence, and they'll turn that whole situation around. If we look at the books, the last bailout, 98% of the bailout money was used by the corporations to buy back their own stocks, and they made out like bandits. In America, our stimulus packages, we put in something that said they can't use this money to buy their own stocks. It was mentioned. People fought for it. A couple people, they got it through. So that was one good thing. But before people know really how it works, if you let these businesses go down, you will look like the bad guy, not the business. You will look like the bad guy. You know, whoever didn't vote to give them that bailout. It's a tough thing to do. I don't know.
Do you know what would hurt? Do you know what would hurt Virgin? If the people stopped using them. But guess what? That won't happen. It's down on us. It's down on us. It's the same with football. People complain about the price tickets being too high, but they still go to the games.
Great example. True. True.
Yeah.
And Steve will agree with me as well. Like, so Richie, we got this. So when you came over to London that time, and we met in that pub before you played the show at the fucking Forum in Kentish Town, the last show on the Persistence tour, we met up in that big pub and was all hanging out, chilling. That's a Wetherspoons pub. Now the owner of that pub is a fucking scumbag. Like, he basically said to his staff on the 23rd of March, yo, this is your last day of work. We're not going to pay you anything. If you do happen to be out of work, go and work in Walmart for a bit. And then when everything gets back to normal, we'll maybe re-employ you again. Just a fucking scumbag shit. Like, like it was bad PR for him, for his company. But now there's like campaigns now, people saying, if things get back to normal, we ain't drinking or eating or giving any more money to Wetherspoons. And people will say that now, but let's see if it fucking actually holds true and people
They'll be
do
back in there for their English breakfast, mate.
Yeah, you're right.
Of course they will, mate. Because it's cheap. Cheap. I'm not going to go there.
I'm telling you right now, I'm never going back there, ever.
I'm not going back there. And you can hold me to it. Like, I can't go back there, man. Like, I can't.
Yo, you know what else? You know what else about that pub?
What?
The first documented case of the corona was in there that day we were there with Sean Gelino, I think.
Oh, really?
Yo, remember how sick he was at that place?
Yeah, he was all coughing and spluttering and shit, innit? Yeah.
I think he brought that shit over there, bro. That was ground zero. Damn. Sean Gelino left from North New Jersey and brought and infected your whole fucking country. Damn.
Yeah, I was pretty gutted, man, because I was gonna me and Sean that it was Burns Week. So Burns Week is there was a Scottish pub called was it Robert Burns? I think Robert Burns his name was. And when it's Burns Week, they always do like haggis and fucking all that crazy fucking Scottish food and shit. So I was gonna have that, but they run out of it. So next time, Sean, next time we get some haggis, man. You can't have that in America. You couldn't import it anymore. Haggis is basically sheep's lungs. Sorry to people who don't. Yeah, nah, it's nice, man. Mashed potato.
Tasty, haggis.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Where is Waymo? Why are you still blue, Waymo?
My phone died. I'm just charging it.
Yo, Chris Mavromatis took my laptop to do something to it, and when I got home from Chicago, I wasn't here. So sorry about that, guys.
No, that's fine,
that's all right. Chris has probably done some archaeological work on your laptop or some shit, innit? Like,
Chris is like a computer guy that if he fixes your computer, he makes it worse somehow every time.
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.
Here in the UK, we're under a soft lockdown at the moment. It's not a full-blown. I know some states in America, like California, they're completely locked down over there, aren't they?
That's what I hear, but I think it's the same as where I'm at and a lot of other places. Like, what is it? What are the standards by you? What can't you do that you could normally do?
Right. So I'll say a couple. Then Steve, Steve, you go on. What you say a couple of them?
For us right now, we can. So we got to stay home. We can't go to work unless our work is of vital importance. So obviously, hospital staff, of course. But they were a little bit hazy on the definition of a vital employment.
Money.
Some companies, some companies are kind of we're vital employees. In fact, the Wetherspoons guy turned around, didn't he, and tried to say that he was his company was of vital importance to be open.
Wow, what a dick.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's an arrogant.
He's a fucking prick, that guy. Anyway, so we're only supposed to go out one time per day for exercise, and we can go out one time per day to get food. And if we're going to work, we're allowed out for that. Other than that, we got to stay home.
Okay.
It's
So
supposedly
one time a day for food?
Yeah, so you can go out and get like your grocery shopping if you need to, and you can go out and go for a walk or go for a run or something like that. You can't go out in groups of more than two, and those two people have to be from the same household.
Gotcha.
You know, I can go out with my girlfriend for a walk, but I can't meet my friend from down the road to go for a walk.
Now, do you have like restaurants open for takeout?
Yeah, some.
Okay.
But
It's basically the same thing. Here you have the same thing. You have grocery stores that are open. If you walked in there with 4 people, nobody would say anything, to be honest. Banks are open. I went to a bank today. Drive-through is open. The drive-through at the bank. You can't go inside the bank. Pharmacies are open, and restaurants are open for takeout. In my state, or my county, in my state. See, I live in a highly infected county because we're part of the greater New York area. A lot of people here work in New York. So it's 8 o'clock is a curfew, and they shut down the buses in and out of New York. My job was considered essential in New York City until yesterday. They shut it down yesterday. So things did change, but it's real similar to what you guys are doing. And I don't know. I don't know if that will work, if it's as serious if it says, if that will work. But I'm personally definitely coming into contact with way less people than normal. That's that's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we got the whole 2 meters apart thing, as Steve said. If you walk, if you go out with some of your family members, or if the housemate or family member, your partner, whatever, and you're going for a walk, you still have to stick to the restrictions of 2 meters. Now, I think this 2 meter restriction thing, I think it's the thing that has to be done, but it's not being implemented properly. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Yeah, when you're queuing up to go into a convenience store or a supermarket, when you're queuing up, it's 2 meters apart. Some people might be a meter apart. Some motherfucker might be up in your grill and shit, like really close to you and that. Like, when you walk into the supermarket, it's a fucking shit show, man. It's a free-for-all. There's people just walking everywhere, walking in front of you, walking beside you. Like, how do you police that sort of shit? How do you keep a fucking wrap under it? And my sister today, she went with her boyfriend to go and get fucking food from the supermarket real quick because they hadn't been out for a few days, so they wanted to go and get something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've been queuing up for like 15 minutes. They get to the fucking front, and then the guy who's security, because now a lot of the stores are getting private security firms to man the fucking queues. He's turned around to my sister and the partner and gone, "Oh, only one person from a household allowed in the supermarket." And they're like, "What? How the fuck did you work that out?" Like, he or she could have been standing behind each other and said, "No, I don't know this person. We're not together." And they both could have gone in. And then when my sister said, then when my sister went inside the supermarket, there was fucking people, like couples walking around with each other. There was families of 4, but families are okay. That's allowed to be done. But the rules are just a bit fucking vague, sketchy, not being enforced properly. And it's just fucking downright weird. And if they do say that the fucking thing's going to multiply and triple and quadruple and whatnot, all the fucking terms you can use, it's going to be a fucking shit show soon. I know Bex is definitely going to be a shit show because it really is a shit show.
Do you guys?
I'm living in the most infected fucking little area of the country. I think it's still the most infected.
Oh shit!
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm in the epicenter for the UK, Southwark, innit?
Do you know the boxer Anthony Yard?
Yeah.
His dad died from it.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
It's a real thing, man. Do you know what? I saw a clip online, and it was a dude. He was sitting outside a hospital, and they had the big trailer truck, and it was a forklift truck. You see that?
Yeah.
And the dude was like, he was in tears, and he was like going, because this forklift was carrying bodies and loading it into the trailer, and this dude was in tears, and he was like, "Yo, man, this shit is real. Stay at home. Stay at home." But he had tears, like you could just hear his voice, man. It was trembling. It's just surreal, man. It really is.
It is,
I just saw something John Joseph just posted because he rides his bike around the city, and he filmed in front of a hospital, like similar thing. a tractor trailer truck, refrigerated, parked outside the hospital with like a tent built in front of it. And he said they just wheeled some bodies in there, but he didn't film it out of respect. But it's going down, and it's, you know, a lot of those things are set up right outside the hospitals right now.
They've got tents set up in Central Park and shit as well, innit? Like,
and I worked last day. I worked in the city. I left. I talked to my boss, and he said, "Yo, just that's it. File for unemployment." I said, "All right." I've been with this company 22 years, you know. So,
will you be going back with him though afterwards?
If it, you know, I don't see it ending anytime soon. I'm not as optimistic as a lot of other people. I'm just using logic, and if it spreads the way they claim it spreads, I don't see how you could get back to normal without having a vaccine. You know, I don't understand the math behind that. You know,
I think the only way. Sorry, man.
That's and that's the thing we never spoke about earlier. We're just quickly touching it because look at Italy and look at Spain, man. Like, people will turn around and go, "Oh yeah, but these places have got like a lot of older people in their countries, especially Italy." And it's like, all right, cool, no problem. Like, but the rate of infection and people getting infected there is mad, and the amount of people who have died there as well is just, it's proper scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the world is a big place, massive populations, but if some of these countries never took the action that they did by stopping flights coming in, locking down certain places, it will be a lot worse. Like,
do you you know Wisom? Do you follow his Instagram page?
Yeah, I know of him, but I haven't seen his Instagram page. What's his take on it? He's a smart guy.
Yeah, he's a very smart guy. But when this first started happening, he was like, he was conspiracy theory. It's just a flu, blah de blah, blah de blah. But he's had to walk back a bit on it.
Most fucking black rappers are all into the fucking Illuminati and fucking, it's just a flu and it's fucking the man doing all the shit. Like, then, I mean, when they start seeing people dropping dead, then they fucking change their tune all of a sudden. Like, yo, stay at home, nigga, stay at home, don't go out.
You know what? The president of the United States was saying the same thing. You know, it's true.
Let's talk about Trump. Let's talk about him, man. Rich, how do you think he's dealing with it?
Well, the claim to fame from his base, why they give him props for how he's handling it, is they like to point out that he cut travel to China pretty quickly in the game. So, and he did. So I guess I'll give him props for that, right? He cut travel to China. A lot of people said, you just did that because you're a racist, X, Y, and Z. And maybe that was his reason, because his own words made it seem like he didn't respect or think much of this virus, you know. But since then, if we give him credit for that, fine. But since then, he hasn't done anything good. He gives, you know, stories that contradict each other. One day we'll be back to normal by Easter. 2 days later, an extended 30 days on the quarantine situation. One day it's a hoax. The next day, hopefully we only have 200,000 people die. You know, it's like, he's very hard to follow. I don't think he's doing a good job at all. But he did, early in the game, he stopped travel to China. And I guess you could give him props for that, just to be a fair guy. You know what I mean?
So once we get to 60% of the population, right, you have this supposed herd immunity thing. My take on Trump and Boris Johnson's actions and the way they've been wishy-washy in their approach, Boris Johnson certainly has not been a good leader during this, in my opinion. He's given some very conflicting advice and he's not enforced things when he should have enforced things. My take on it is that for them, and they will never say this, but an economy that shows some resurgence is better for us than people, than like, it's the better option. So saving people's lives and getting the economy back on its feet, for them, I think the choice is getting the economy back on its feet.
100.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's so when I'll let you jump in on that afterwards. Like, but I think for both of them, it's a little bit different. Boris Johnson has won an election, so he doesn't, like, economy or no economy, like, he's still going to be the prime minister no matter what, barring some mad shit where he, like, succumbs, because, you know, obviously, Richie, Boris has got COVID now, innit? Like, So
I heard
yeah,
that.
I don't wish death on anyone. Like, but if he succumbs to it, you know what I mean, then obviously there'll be a new prime minister, whatnot. Like, but he probably will be better. He will get better. Like, but Donald Trump has got an election this year, and what people are failing to realize is that Donald Trump can't do his rallies and reach out to his base how he would normally reach out to them. So he has to do some of his fucking bravado and shit on the fucking press, on the press secretary, the meetings that they do with the press and stuff. Because remember, they stopped all these fucking press briefings before the coronavirus. There was no press allowed at the White House. They weren't allowed there. It's only because of coronavirus that they're allowed back into the White House to do these press briefings again. And that's kind of fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, Trump is just like, I think there's other people as well, not just Trump. That governor, I can't remember which one was the Texan governor, who fucking said that old people will be willing to fucking sacrifice
what
themselves.
A disgusting
Get
statement.
fucking economy back up again.
What a disgusting statement.
That's fucked, man.
Yeah.
Like, who would even say that? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm of their age as well. And like, if it was me, and it goes, dude, you're rich. Like, you are fucking rich.
Yeah.
You're just like going after these fucking poor Southern whites, blacks, Latinos, and everyone who just, or around the whole country, who just happens to be poor or who happens to be middle class but doesn't have a lot of money for savings to pay for healthcare or whatnot. They're basically, you're saying that they're expendable, so they'd be willing to sacrifice themselves just to get the economy started again.
Exploiting
like,
that
who are these
propaganda,
people, man? Like, who are these people? And the joke thing is as well, like, no disrespect to him, some of these men will call themselves Christian. That ain't Christian. Who would wish for someone to die, like, to sacrifice themselves in the name of money? Come on, man. That's not Christian, man. That's some monster shit.
You know what though? Let's play devil's advocate. And Trump's saying, "What? And is it possible? I'm sure you guys could think of a scenario where the downfall of the global economy, setting people into standards lower than the Great Depression, would be more deadly than letting this virus run through the population at the level of fatalities that they know right now it will probably take." I mean, is it possible that letting the economy drop could be more dangerous for mankind? I don't know.
I think because it's like 90% older people that are dying, they don't really care. I think if it was if the percentage of people dying were a lot younger, they would care, because they're the people that are going to be out there and working. So I feel like the old people it's more of I'm not too concerned about.
Yeah, but can you see that scenario where a devastated global economy might be more frightening than a pandemic?
Oh,
like
yeah,
this?
it sounds so. Yeah.
I mean, would actual nobody in America dies of starvation anymore. That doesn't happen.
Right, let me ask,
but could it if we let the place go into
just bouncing off your what you're saying there? We all accept that the economy is important. Then is that what we're saying? That you can't just let the economy fall on its ass. Is that a fair thing
it's
to say?
extremely important, and unless global economies across the planet are on the same page and can afford to sustain their population without bringing in any income at all for up to a year, I don't know what the better option is. I'm just being honest. Like I never lived through a Great Depression, so I don't know. Like, you know, I saw pictures. It looked pretty devastating. I know the starvation rate was through the roof. I know people were dying of other diseases that they don't normally die of because there's no medical attention and they couldn't afford it. And I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't think they're saying the possibility is worse like I'm saying it out of like caring. I think they're saying it's worse out of getting what they want, but it actually could be a worse situation. I really don't know.
Some people would boil rubber leather belts and shit to eat just to survive in that, back in the Depression and that shit like that. So, you know, when you see pictures of tumbleweed and all that sort of type of shit going through towns and it's fucking
And
cities.
during the Great Depression, people were dying from like things that they don't die of now. You know, they're dying from like normal shit that you don't even think about because they're broke and they're malnourished. So I don't really know. I would imagine that governments can maintain their societies for a year if they had to without any other income, but I don't know for sure, man. I mean,
and this is the thing with Trump. Trump is not thinking about the economy for that reason. Trump is thinking about the economy because of his fucking election.
100%. Yeah. I'm not trying to give him props like he's saying something smart. I'm just saying there might be some truth in that statement underneath. Yeah, his concern is he wants to be able to say, look at the stock market, look at the unemployment rate. I'm better than everybody. I gave you the best economy ever. Vote for me. That's what he wants. That's saying that a broken economy might really be deadly. Will definitely be deadly,
Because like Donald Trump isn't it's arguable, isn't it? Like he's not that he's stupid, but he's not that stupid because things are written down in history. He doesn't want under his name that the economy completely fucking crashed under Donald J. fucking Trump. He doesn't want that. Like he doesn't want that. Not because of his children, not because of anything else, because of him and how he sees the world in his prison. And that is basically the whole fucking side of it. Like, but
so go on, mate. Sorry. What do you think Obama would do differently if Obama was in power now? How do you think he would handle the situation differently?
He'll give the banks fucking $500 trillion. He'll give them whatever the fuck they fucking wanted, mate. Everything and extra. That's what Obama would have fucking done. Neoliberal.
I think that he would have made the population feel better in a way because he was so eloquent. He was such a great speaker. And he definitely did his best to include people. But his policies would have probably been almost identical to what is going on right now. I can't see him reacting quicker than our administration did or yours, because he probably would have thought, I lived through H1N1. I lived through the swine flu. This is no big deal. I seen him come and I seen him go. So he probably wouldn't have reacted immediately. Who would? Would I? Would you guys if you were in power? I don't know. Like Steve said earlier, he saw this stuff before. He didn't think twice about it. The presidents and people in charge are probably similar, except they do have a heads up probably a month and a half before we would. But he wouldn't. These are businessmen. These aren't doctors. These aren't scientists. They're not engineers. They're almost all businessmen or ex-lawyers. And those are the people we seem to constantly vote for to run our countries. And if you have a businessman running your country during a pandemic, it doesn't seem like a very good idea right now, does it?
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.
I wanted to say, I know we jumping in on Boris and we've been jumping in on Trump, but I thought is it the governor or the mayor of New York? I thought the Italian dude. I really like him.
Yeah, you know what? He seems good, doesn't he? Under pressure, he seems like he's demonstrating good leadership. That's for sure.
I think he's just honest and to the point. And even with some of the things that Trump says, he kind of debunks it.
Yeah, and you know what? He mentions the good things too. He's mentioning the recovery rate, which is really promising. But he's also blunt, and he mentions the dire, things that are, some stuff to be alarmed about. Yeah, but he seems legit. He's got, like anybody else nowadays, if I say I like this guy, 3 people hit me up and say why that guy's the worst. You know how it is. Yeah. But watching him with my own eyes for this one particular thing, he definitely seems he took control and became like a mouthpiece for information about the virus in America. And people in Tennessee are listening for some reason to the governor of New York. And, it's crazy. Wow. But,
wow.
Well, they put him on. They put him on live TV, like for national channels that broadcast everywhere. And they just have him talking. And I was even wondering why. Like, he's giving an update about New York, but why is everybody hearing this dude? But then it just caught on. But yeah, he seems good, man. When it comes to
Good
this,
leadership is important in a time like this, though, isn't it? Being able to speak to people. We've got something similar with Richie Sunak, right? He's been up there giving speeches on like how they're going to help people and blah blah, and he's presented himself perfectly, and he's been more reassuring to a lot of people than the Prime Minister or anyone else because he can speak properly.
That's what you need.
I don't trust Boris Johnson because that motherfucker, he don't even brush his hair, man. Like, he don't even brush his fucking hair, comb his hair properly, man. Like,
I noticed something I noticed something with Boris when he was doing the press conferences for the coronavirus. His hair was kind of neatly combed, and then when he was doing his campaign for his election, it's all scruffy. I think it's all a ploy. That hair thing is all a ploy. Like
I've heard he messes his hair up on purpose before he meets public.
Yeah, he does.
When he
was go on, sorry on.
No, sorry, no, go on. When he came out the other day with Richie Sunak and they were clapping for the NHS outside number 10, his suit is all fucking ill-fitting and shit. Like I'm not trying to get on that fucking vibe of like, oh, you have to be a certain look, blah 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 blah. But when there's certain people who run for high office and then the opposition, you get all these right-wing fucking papers look, oh, he can't fucking run for opposition, like run for the prime minister or run for this position. He's scruffy, he dresses like that. Remember that time, Richie, you'll fucking testify to this. Remember that time when Obama got stick for wearing a cream suit?
Yeah. People breaking his balls hard up over that.
People got vexed over the wearing a cream suit. Like, it's like, oh, he's bringing disrespect to the office. What, wearing a fucking cream suit? Like, what's
yeah,
I don't know.
No, yeah, I don't know much about your Boris dude, but he's a odd looking fucking kind of like got a senile homeless guy vibe. Like, it's weird, man.
But it's like for that's his way of being a man to people. That's like, yeah, I'm just like you. I'm a bit forgetful and I stumble over my words and I say stupid things and whatever.
Well, you know what? That makes me feel separate from him. Like, I don't feel connected to stupid people that are fucked up looking. I know that. So I don't know who's voting for this guy, but if that's his way of saying I'm one of you, then who the fuck is he representing? I don't want to hang out with these people that can't even walk out of the house looking fresh, don't even have the right words to say. A bunch of suckers, man.
He reminds me of like if there was an American comedy and they had the British dude in it, and they were like, how do we describe or how do we fucking like show a British dude like our what's it called, our take of a British dude? That would be it. That would be fucking Boris Johnson. Like in an American made film, like they just go, yo, this is the British guy. It'll be Boris Johnson. That's who it is. Like bumbling and all over the place and shit, looking best, scruffy and that.
Yeah, you're right. That's funny.
It's like an older, uglier version of every English character that Hugh Grant has ever played in an American movie.
Yeah, with oversized teeth, stuttering their words, looking a little awkward but cute at the same time. Get out of
here. Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Well, have you heard the new thing about going back to Como? Apparently, when they get to the election time, if there is an election, I mean, I'm sure it will still go ahead, but fucking Biden will have to give way, and then Como will come in as a nominee. Have you heard that rumor?
Yeah, I heard it. I can't see how it could be possible, but
that's what I'm saying. How the fuck can that be possible, man? Like, he's not running any primaries or anything like that, or none of that shit. How's that possible?
He literally didn't get one vote from any human being. He wasn't on one stage to debate any other candidate, and he could somehow come in and run for I don't know. But, I mean, you know, we know Bernie Sanders is getting slighted. Bernie's the man. Nobody wants Bernie in there that has any kind of juice or power. Cuomo is more of a mainstream guy. Yeah, he's got his shit together. He's got the gift of gab. He comes off as tough but smart at the same time. So people see him beating a personality like Trump. But I think down low, the people on the top, Trump will pounce Joe Biden. You know what I mean? So I don't know what they're going to do. They probably are looking into options, but I don't know how they could make us believe that putting Cuomo in there is, you know, legal. I don't know how it would work,
Trump would fucking destroy Biden, man, on a debate stage. Damn, man. It'll be it'll be too easy for Donald Trump. Too easy.
Yeah. I mean, Trump has a clear path right now. And you guys, like you just mentioned, an election coming up. There might not even be an election because Trump may use wartime powers and notice the rhetoric of the politicians saying, we're at war, we're at war, we're at war. He may use wartime powers to suspend an election. It's not out of reason. And
you'll see it coming.
If you know Donald Trump and you see what he says and what he does, what makes you think, even if he loses the election, that he would leave? You know what I mean? Why would anyone believe that? Why wouldn't he just go up? Why wouldn't he just make a speech and say, hey, everybody, we saw a lot of things, a lot of real bad things, real shady looking out there. This election was fixed. A lot of bad stuff, everybody. And his base would ignite, say he didn't really lose. He's not going to. I don't know. I don't put it past him. I tell people that, they think I'm nuts, but I can't see a personality like him leaving after he loses. Even when he wins, he's still mad about it. Like, he still talks about the inauguration. He still talks about Hillary Clinton. You beat these motherfuckers. What? You can't move on from it? Imagine if he lost. I can't see him. I can't see him stepping down.
He fucking
talking about
he put up a tweet actually in the middle of this fucking pandemic talking about his ratings.
Yeah, he was very
yesterday or the day before or something.
He's very happy.
How narcissistic can you fucking get, man?
Yeah,
he loves there was a bit of context to it though, because he apparently he didn't put the whole message that the actual so he retweeted something, or he just basically took an article from someone who had said about his ratings, but they also did say that the president hasn't been acting in a certain particular way, but like he left that part out, but he definitely added the ratings bit, like, and
yeah, I was getting into some debates about people. Lewis is right. It was sort of a quote from an article, but he was obviously very happy with the quote and about himself, because we know his history. It's not like we could say, oh, he would never mention ratings. He always mentions ratings. He always mentions viewership, popularity. Everything's a competition. So I think he was praising himself, but I don't think those were his own words. You know what I mean? But that's his defense mechanism. His groupies are coming in to defend him by saying, oh, he didn't say that. He's just, quoting what someone else said. But he's an animal, the guy. He's a pig. He's filth. Yeah. He's a loser. But people are attracted to this type of person, man. Like, I don't know why. I'm lost. I know strong, tough, hardworking American men that work 60, 70 hours a week. Their hands are fucked up. They dig holes, and they somehow feel connected to Donald Trump, a person who never would dig a hole. He would never be a good teammate. He would never want to be in a foxhole with him. You wouldn't want to be on the same football team with him. You wouldn't want him to be your teacher. You wouldn't want him to be your student. You wouldn't want him to be your coach. But somehow they love this guy, man. It's crazy.
Is it that whole Team America thing though? Make America great, America. Like, he digs into that. Do you think that plays on the heartstrings of these people?
I'm sure it does. But does he look like Mr. America to you? Like, I thought those people would need at least a guy that owned a farm and was in the military at one time, and had at one time he did something that was masculine in his life. I didn't think these people that would feed into that would pick a draft dodger, a guy who's constantly crying on Twitter, a guy who has no real Christian values to him that you could see the average person can never pick out a true Christian quality from Donald Trump. But they did. But you're right. People like that rhetoric. But how do they think that he fits into that? He doesn't have any of those qualities. None.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, isn't it?
It is fucking nuts.
It's a mystery. But there was something. There was another thing about this corona that I think a lot of people have not touched upon, and that is people that are in abusive relationships, sexual predators. child abuse victims, you know.
Because of the
well.
lockdown, there's
Yeah.
gonna be because of the lockdown, there's gonna be a rise in abuse, domestic violence, and all fucking sort of like nonsense like that fucking goes a bit. And it's a sad fact of life that there will be an increase in that. Because if you're trying to escape an abusive partner, and then all of a sudden everyone's on fucking lockdown and you're in the house with an abusive partner, that can only lead to fucking like bad circumstances and that, like, you know what I mean? It's not fucking cool. But did you see that boxer, Billy Joe fucking Saunders?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't he make like a video how to hit women or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, you know him, Richie?
I'm a boxing fan, so yeah, I know a little bit about something like that.
He done a video of this. He done a video of this. He's so I checked him out and see what he's all about, and he's from the traveller community and that, like, so not so many travellers are not the most PC people in the world and that, but they got a sense of community and a sense of pride and stuff. But at the same time, like, jokes like that just seem to be just like an okay thing to do. But yeah, he done this video of him hitting a punch bag, and he was like, so when I watched it and he started talking, I was thinking, oh, okay, what's he going on like? And then he went into that sort of stick, and I thought, oh, he's gonna bring it back into like his wife or something hitting him and fucking him up or something. I thought he was gonna bring it into that sort of sense, but no, he probably went with it, like give her one in the face, and then when she's all dazed and fucking spinning and confusing her, then you just go with the fucking. Like, I was like, wow, you're a professional boxer, bro. Like, you are a professional boxer. Like, he's supposed to be fighting Canelo soon. Like, I don't know if that's some sort of PR or some fucking thing to get his name up or some shit.
He's been suspended.
Yeah, he's been suspended.
Yeah, he's been suspended now, exactly. Why did he? Yeah. I don't know why he would do that. Like, why would anyone make a joke like that? Like, fucking.
You know what?
I think
like,
he was trying to be like the lad. He was trying to be like, hey, guess what, guys? He's a big, really funny joke.
Yeah, he's a prick.
Right.
Well,
I've got two issues with that whole thing. Right. My first issue is it's not a funny subject, man. It's just
not a joke, like, yeah.
Secondly, though, if you're gonna joke about really fucking bad things like that, if you're gonna choose a controversial subject, be funny when you deliver your joke, man. Because his delivery was appalling. It was terrible. And it reminded me of Dapper Laughs, man. Shit joke, shit delivery.
The thing is that as well, it was all the people who were commenting on the posts and shit going, this is fucking, like, it's all just proper meathead type dudes all going, oh, it's proper funny, like, tagging their girlfriends in it, going, oh, if you talk like this is what you will get and that. And it's like, bruv, man, you've got a mother, you might have a sister, you've got a daughter or a family member. How do you know they're not going through some sort of domestic shit? And if you knew that they were going through some domestic violence, you'd be the first to go and come to their defense, and rightly so. So why would you make a fucking joke about fucking, like, during the fucking lockdown with your wife? If she gives it, you're gonna fucking beat her up. Like, what? Like, what?
Yo, you know what? You're right. But it's like, he's a boxer. He's not a comedian. He's a dope. Like, isn't it good enough that people just say this and say, you know what? I don't like him. I'm not going to root for him. When he comes to the ring, I'm going to boo him. I'm going to throw popcorn at him. But to, like, get suspended over being an idiot, to, you know, it's to me, he's not a politician. Like, I don't know how you could suspend him for something like that. It blows my mind. I don't like it.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of for it, man. Not forever, but just I want him to see him get hurt in his pocket.
He has to be punished for that, man, because, like, end of the day, there's people out there who see shit like that and think it's a fucking joke, and it ain't a joke, right? Because, as I said, somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, man, you know what I mean? Like,
you are right, but what this will do is what Trump did. It's that personality. It will ignite the base. It will ignite the people. Yeah. And they'll be like, what? He got suspended for talking, for joking around? What is this? Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to do this. It never works, man. I never seen it work. I never seen people like, oh, shit, you're not supposed to say that? Oh, I didn't even think of that. Like, those people wouldn't say it to the people who are reasonable, wouldn't say this stuff anyway. But the unreasonable people, they just multiply when they see a guy like this get persecuted. They put him on a pedestal. He becomes like the martyr to them. Like he's the martyr. He's a martyr to the asshole.
I do definitely get where you're coming from and that, like, but when it's definitely here in the UK, man, when it comes to fucking certain jokes, like domestic violence is definitely one of them ones. Like, yeah, you can see that you can see how he's talking. You can see that he isn't necessarily like being serious, that I want to beat up the fucking woman, like, and it's like he just shouldn't have done it. Like he's already
totally.
like, 3 days earlier. 3 days earlier, he got fucking in trouble for doing a prank call to one of his friends who was on a flight, and he phoned in the fucking flight and said that 2 of his friends who were on it had coronavirus, and they got kicked off. Yeah, dude.
Oh my God. I think
the guy is a walking fucking disaster.
Now, is that one funny? That's kind of funny. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? That's like, if in their circle of friends, that's pretty. He really got them. You know what I mean? But,
you said the key word, in your circle of friends. We all know we're part of WhatsApp groups where you get some outrageous jokes, right? If they go outside that group, you most probably be shut down, or the person that sent it will be shut down. But I think there's a limitation on what you can say on a public platform. There has to be a limitation. Otherwise, people will be coming out and saying whatever the fuck they want. Don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want people to say certain things, but I never want myself to be told what I can or cannot say either. So I don't really play with that fire. Like, I would just not support that guy. I would cheer against him. I would love to see him get bashed. I would post the videos of him getting bashed over and over. But I can't see him saying he can't fight because his jokes suck and they're in super bad taste and I don't like them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me, though, you know?
Okay, no, that's fair enough.
Yeah. True. But then again, you know, he works. Who's that? Somebody's paying him. He works, I guess, for an organization. I don't know what league he's in. WBA, WBF. Boxing is so crazy.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure what...
If those guys don't like it, they have every right to suspend them. You know what I mean? So.
Well, obviously they've taken the decision to suspend because, you know, obviously in this type of climate, like, if they're not seen to be taking any sort of action, they're just gonna get stick. But at the end of the day, I mean, boxing is predominantly a fucking man's world. I know there's women's boxing as well. There's a great boxer from Ireland called Katie Taylor and shit, and we've had some others throughout the past. But boxing is predominantly a fucking male-dominated fucking sport. So
yeah, I mean, listen, are we all Mike Tyson fans?
Yeah, I am.
Mike Tyson stood up on stage. And he told the white man he's gonna rape him. I'm gonna rape you. I'm gonna make you my bitch, white boy.
I'll make you my bitch, white boy. Yeah.
I mean, and that didn't even get him suspended. And he said it in a super hostile way. There was no question in that case that he was. Oh, he might have been joking though. And
it's on YouTube.
No, but he wasn't. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think the context of him saying that was a whole different thing.
Sure.
What did he say again? I'll fuck you till you love me, white boy.
Yeah. And what else was he calling him? He was calling him a faggot. You faggot.
Drop you bombs hard, yeah.
And listen, man, there was no suspension after that. His value went through the roof as far as people seeing him.
Yeah, but you're talking. That was what, 1990?
It was definitely a different
time.
That was like 97. Or 95, 97.
It's a different.
96, 97.
It was definitely a different time, but Mike Tyson today is still well loved with all the crazy things.
He's changed as a person.
Yeah, he's well loved. Look at Tupac Shakur. He's well loved. People love him. He went down for rape. And people nowadays who want to point out everybody else, they love to put a Tupac quote up and say how only God can judge them. So I'm just saying it's kind of what this guy did is goofy, it's disrespectful, it's stupid, but to see him not being able to fight for it, I don't like that logic. But
he will get reinstated.
He will definitely it's just a tap on us. It's just a tap on that.
He's giving us some money to women's refuge charity and shit. Like he would do his time in like a Facebook jail sort of type fucking thing.
I mean,
so
hopefully it's not more than a year, because in a fight game, a year is 10 years. You know what I mean? So you only got a window of opportunity for most of these guys. But I'm not saying I like the guy. I'm just saying, you know, there's dudes that can get away with it, and there's dudes that can't. There's stuff that's over the line. There's stuff that isn't. But for the most part, just talking, I don't know. I'm not going to get too hyped up over it, you know?
I think Mike Tyson, when you bring up Mike Tyson,
he was punching
like, yep, he would. Mike Tyson, if he was around these days doing his thing these days, you know, because what we got now is it was a different time, and we've got the legend of Mike Tyson. But if he did things that he did back then, now we wouldn't have no legend of Mike Tyson.
No, we'd have a person that everybody hates. He would have probably fought 4 times and then been suspended. You know what I mean? But
same with Muhammad Ali in a certain way as well. What do you think, Muhammad Ali? Him saying that he ain't going to Vietnam and shit, he would have got the same stick that he would have got now. I'm not comparing the two as the same people, but how Colin Kaepernick is with the fucking not standing for the flag, Muhammad Ali would have fucking gone through the same sort of shit as well that Kaepernick's gone through. If you turn around and said, I don't believe in the Iraq war, or I don't believe in the Afghanistan war, or some shit like that, he definitely would have got fucking stick for that.
Just on Muhammad Ali, if you got Netflix, watch the assassination of Malcolm X.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched it. Yeah.
Really good.
I'm not saying it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, Muhammad Ali, that was, that's the guy. But when we see what happened to him, like what happened to Kaepernick, it's fucked up. But keep in mind, he still gets paid because there's a group that loves him, like in real time, and that group has money. Like Nike has money. Nike throws money to him. Muhammad Ali he might have had people at home, broke motherfuckers that loved him, but he had no financial stability for a while. He took that so hard and he accepted it. You got to give him props. I give Kaepernick props too. I'm just saying, like, Kaepernick financially could survive this and do good, still have a voice. Muhammad Ali, he got the best fighting years of his life taken away from him, you know?
The whole, I know we're going off the subject, but the whole cap thing, it just went so off track. It became more about kneeling than police brutality. To me, it became a bit of a joke, to be honest.
Totally. And that's what that side is perfect at. They're perfect at switching the argument. That's why I said if you let these companies go under, they're going to switch it, that you're the bad guy. You took away the jobs from those people because you let that company go under. Kaepernick, he got the whole, he could have came out. He probably thought he was going to get some good press. He was going to, and it turned like, what? Wait, this has nothing to do with the flag. This has nothing to do with military. What do you mean? Like, I'm not disrespecting. It didn't matter. That was the narrative. People ran with it. One man versus the biggest network in the country. You know, Fox News likes to act like they're this underdog. They're the biggest mainstream media network in the country. They have a lot of influence, a lot of power. And when they had it in for him, it was a wrap. Like, he couldn't recover from that, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
That's funny you say that. I don't know how conservatives think they're rebels. Like, the whole word conservative is to conserve, not to rebel. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And Fox News is just a huge entity, much more powerful than CNN. I'm not saying CNN is good. I'm just saying Fox is more powerful. They have more money and they have more influence. But somehow they painted themselves as like, you know, like Luke Skywalker against Darth Vader. It's crazy.
No, that's racist, man. Kaepernick's black, but he's not Darth Vader.
I wonder if Kaepernick could, honestly, I wonder if he could still play, if he's still good enough to play. You know? I know you guys don't care about American football.
For a while,
I
though,
don't really know too much about it.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was flopping just before all this happened.
Yeah, a lot of people say that he was like a second-rate, third-rate quarterback. Anyway,
he was doing decent, but he wasn't doing great. But there were like the point where he left or got thrown out, whatever it was. He was still definitely, there were spots for him on teams. He could have definitely maybe started on a few teams, and he could have definitely been a backup on a lot of teams. But, you know, there's only so many quarterbacks to go around, you know, the way NFL works, there was definitely spots for him. He had a value, and he got jerked pretty bad. You know, I'm not saying they stopped, you know, what could have been Joe Montana from ever playing again, but he could have been making, you know, a couple mil a year, playing for a few years with this team, a couple years with that team, but he definitely got screwed over.
Wow.
Just noticed that Wayman's disappeared from my
yeah, let's keeping it on the funny side of shit, like, but slightly bringing it back to Corona. But what did you guys make of that fucking celebrity Imagine fucking video that they did? John Lennon.
I ain't seen that.
I like the Gilbert Gottfried one the best.
The one I posted up today with Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert Gottfried's fucking amazing, man.
I love it, man.
But those celebrities, man, they're so fucking like trapped in. We think we're trapped in like echo chambers and bubbles and shit. Them motherfuckers are like. It's taken me a while to realize. That's one thing I will agree with conservatives and shit. Like celebrities in fucking Hollywood and all that shit. They definitely are the biggest virtue signalers out of all of them. They will be like, "Yo, we've got to be all together and love each other."
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
And then,
I really can't.
Do this and do that, and then like they'll be like, "Yeah, borders for everyone and all that shit." Like, yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be fucking locking people up and all that sort of shit just because they're trying to make a go for it for themselves. But them motherfuckers are like some maid or some gardeners or some shit who are like fucking illegal immigrants or some shit like, and at the same time they're talking shit on the fucking president for fucking stopping illegal immigrants and shit like. But they're just very contradictory and fucking. They're basically hypocrites. A lot of them are fucking hypocrites. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Completely.
They can say what they want, like any of us as well. Oh, look, it looks beautiful like there. You know, the Pennsylvania fucking landscape. Nice.
Wow, man. Is that all your garden?
Yeah, it's my backyard.
Wow, man. We can have a game of football in there.
Build the dreams. Kevin Costner.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, the Hollywood elite is they're a bunch of clowns. Let's face it. You know, everybody liked what Ricky Gervais said, right?
And the Golden Globe.
I thought it was amazing.
But this is the thing. I like what Ricky Gervais said, but he does the same shit. He goes up there, he talks about animal rights and whatever he likes, and we gotta listen. And now his fat ass wants to go up and say, "You can't talk about what you want." I would have threw a bottle at him if I was in the audience.
Yeah, I don't like fucking Ricky Gervais either. I don't think he's funny at all. But
I thought his last stand-up that I saw on Netflix, I thought it was pretty funny, man.
I thought it was hilarious, man.
Yeah.
It was.
How when he said he can adopt the African kid?
Oh, man. It was so bad.
I think he's at least got a little bit of self-awareness compared to some of these guys.
Yeah.
You know what? He's the white Dave Chappelle for me.
No, I can't put him in the same category as Dave Chappelle, man.
Have you seen his stand-up? Have you seen the last stand-up on Netflix?
Yeah, but I just don't find him like. For me, Ricky Gervais will tell two. I don't like his delivery. His jokes might be good, but I don't like his delivery and his smarminess. I know that's his thing. He's smarmy and cocky and shit, but he ain't Dave Chappelle, man. Dave Chappelle's just got this fucking edge and shit about him. Like even Bill Burr, I find
maybe early Dave Chappelle. Like Dave Chappelle now, he tells a joke, but it's got a meaning behind it. It's always got a deep meaning behind it. But maybe I'm comparing him to early Chappelle.
Social commentary, man. Like it's social fucking commentary. The way I see Dave Chappelle is he's just doing his comedy in the style of if he was still doing the Chappelle show in a way. But rather than doing sketches, he's just doing his fucking thing on stage. Like all the ones that he done on Netflix recently, some of them were pretty shit. But the last one he did, Sticks and Stones, boy, that was fucking funny, man. Like that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Chappelle is on a level of his own. Like to me, nobody could. He's the god of comedy. But I think funny. Ricky Gervais is funny. He's in the top 20, but nobody's near Chappelle to me. Man.
Nah, I say Chris Rock. Chris Rock's there.
Chris Rock, yeah, but does he lately? Like, you know what I mean? Did he give up on stand up? What's he doing?
Yeah,
he had a divorce, didn't he? He was going through it, so I don't know if that.
Yeah, in his prime, he was one of the best, but Dave Chappelle's He's the man.
I
I do like
suck
Bill Burr's funny too. I like Bill Burr, but he's not up there with Chappelle.
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.
It's just a shame with all the fucking Corona shit, all the shows and that have been getting shut down and venues are fucking not be able to do stuff.
That's what I wanted to ask you guys. That's what I wanted to ask you guys. Like, what are you listening to, music-wise, in your quarantine? Is anything new, music-wise, that you're listening to, or?
I just
go ahead.
Or old, whatever.
I've just been listening to that new fucking 3 Knee Deep album that they just put out.
Yeah, it's growing on me. It's growing on me, I must say.
It's not. I know it ain't gonna be for everyone. I know a couple of the things that people who I've spoken to so far about it. Some people really like it. Some people like it, but they're not feeling all the skits and all the fucking like interludes and shit in it. But I like it. It's just
different. Yeah,
it's
different.
For me. It's just that fucking. It's the vibe. They just play fight music, but it's done really well. And they ain't trying to do any fucking nerd metalcore fucking.
Yeah.
None of that shit, man. You're just playing straight up fucking hard shit. That's it. It's just hard shit that you just want to dance to, nod your head and be like, yeah, it's just that fucking. I hate saying it, but it's that fucking it's like kind of that wiggle vibe, but like good. It's good shit. Like it's fucking decent. You know what I mean? But
where are they from?
Florida.
Oh,
Tampa.
okay.
From Tampa, 3 Knee Deep.
3 Knee Deep. All right.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about? What do you guys think of Enemy Mine?
Good band, man.
You like
Yeah,
that?
they played recently. They've done a UK tour recently.
Yeah, they had to have a fill-in singer though, right?
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, singer broke his foot in the UK.
Yeah,
I see you put up a post about the NHS, and you commented on it, Rich.
Oh, yeah. I wanted some people that are experts on the topic to chime in. You know,
he was saying that he felt that his care wasn't good enough, or something like that.
Yeah, he said he did get free care, but it was low quality care that gave a wrong diagnosis of his foot that could have made it much worse. You know, but that's one single time.
Yeah.
It's one experience. So I mean, I don't know if your thing is the best, but I was just trying to chime in that like you can't really base everything off this one interaction.
Yeah.
And I think, we do have a problem in this country which is being starkly exposed by this whole coronavirus thing, in that it has been deliberately, systematically underfunded by a government that wants to privatize it. So any experiences like that are just indicative of what's going on in this country at the moment. But I would always support this NHS system that we got. I think it's the fucking best thing that we could possibly ever have.
We ain't gonna go broke for getting cancer treatment or having to fucking remortgage our house or fucking put up GoFundMe or any shit like that. I'm not talking shit on America or any of our friends or people who I know who have done that, but that is the fucking reality. If we get sick, we ain't remortgaging our house. Simple as that. Some people have got good healthcare in America, but some people are unfortunate. They don't have the same. Like me, I don't own a house. If I broke my fucking foot tomorrow, I might go to hospital. I might catch coronavirus, but I still get fucking treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, the system here, I don't know how people ever really defend it. I mean, I have health care through my job, but it's not great. But other people say, oh, you have great coverage. I'm like, why is it fucking great? Why do I got to pay anything? I haven't used this in 20 years, this health coverage. I'm paying every week I pay for it. But if something goes down, I still got to pay a deductible. I still got to pay this. Like, if they give me a bill for like $4,000, I'd be like, wow, it's only $4,000. Like, how is this great?
Wow, that's
like people are nuts, man. Yeah,
you're already paying tax. Like, why can't you pay national insurance and still get the good fucking healthcare? But
how it is in America,
you have to pay the middleman which is the fucking insurance, the for-profit insurance company shaking you down like the fucking mafia. It's just weird,
you know
man.
what? About 3 years ago, I was having a problem where I kept feeling dizzy, so I had to have an MRI scan. So I was waiting for an appointment, and then sometimes with the NHS, if they're really busy, they'll refer you to a private clinic through the NHS. So I had this scan done in a private clinic, and I was sitting there waiting in the waiting room, and there was like a brochure, and I was looking at the prices, man, and the scan I was having was like $6,000 or some shit like that. I'm thinking, shit, like I had the scan, and luckily there was nothing wrong. But if I was in America, no disrespect, I'd be $6,000 out of pocket. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just for that.
Or you could be like me, have insurance, and say, "Oh, don't worry, we'll pay 80% of this," and then I'm going home with still paying $1,500. Like,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. And then but I'm so stupid, and our people are so stupid. We'd be like, "Yo, it was really $6,000, but I only got to pay $1,500." It's like, you dumb clown, you stupid degenerate. Like you shouldn't have to pay anything. That's the like you can't drag these people to get us drink of water when they don't want it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Do you think it's because if you're paying for private healthcare and then you see someone else getting something for free, it kind of jars that person?
It does, but you got to be a jerk to think like that. Like people say that with like, with school debt. People be like, let's erase school debt, and people are like, well, I paid mine off. I don't want to. Yeah. What's it? This has nothing to do with you. Like, why do you? You know what I mean? Let the next guy have a good deal. Like, what? It's not a competition. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We had the same thing over here with the tube strikes. I see when we had tube strikes and like the drivers on the tubes weren't running the trains, so people couldn't get to work, and they were having to, they were spending like 3 hours getting across the city and stuff like this. And there were people online, and they were saying, well, in my job, I don't get paid half of what you guys get paid, and I don't go on strike. It's like, maybe because they got a union, that's why they can.
They should be getting fighting your fucking rights.
Yeah, and you hear that here all the time. You hear that with the argument for raising minimum wage, and they'll say, "Oh, I don't even make $15 an hour," and some guy that works at McDonald's is going to get paid $15 an hour, and I'm like, why aren't you upset that you don't make $15 an hour? Like, instead of worrying about what the next guy makes, worry about what you should be making more than 15 too. Like, wake up. And as far as McDonald's, how are you going to clown somebody getting 15 at McDonald's? It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation around the world. It's way bigger than your local 5-man construction company that builds a porch for somebody. They have money. They have CEOs that are bringing in $270 million bonuses. Your little construction company doesn't have that. You're not more valuable than a McDonald's employee. You know what I mean? People are nuts, though. They don't want to see the big picture. Everything comes down to their own view of the world. Very selfish. You know what? Bring that corona on. Kill all of these motherfuckers. I'm tired of this shit.
Now, you know what? You made a good. Let me just say. Let me join the dots. You made a good point there, right? People out for their own self-interest. Same with the economy. Same with the people at the top. Same with Richard Branson. It's the way humans are.
Exactly. You're right.
So,
I personally come from a place where I don't respect that quality, though. That's the difference. Me and what I came up in, we don't respect the quality of selfishness. We look at it as a detriment. We look at the group. The group is more important. But
let's all come up together. Let's all come up together. Like, it's not a race. No one's saying you can be. Yeah, you might be clever. You might be able to do a job and get higher fucking wages and shit and that. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I'm clever, but I want you to come up with me as well. Like, you might not earn as much, but I want you to earn close enough to me. Like, that's what it is. Not, oh, I'm gonna earn big money. Fuck you. I don't care about you. You're on the fucking own. Yeah. And that's what we got now. But with this coronavirus shit, all of a sudden, you're starting to get, in our country in particular, we had an election where people voted against their own, who vote against the interest of our fucking National Health Service. And now we've got coronavirus. the National Health Service all of a sudden is really important for fucking people. So now everyone's fucking avatar has all changed to fucking NHS fucking shit. Similar to that, I kneel for the cross and stand for the flag. All those crazy fucking avatars on fucking Facebook. Now it's all NHS fucking shit and whatnot and that, and support our essential workers and blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but in December time, you didn't care about these essential workers. But because now if we never had coronavirus and everything was regular, we'd just be going about our normal fucking day. People who work in NHS would be told to shut the fuck up and accept your fucking money that you get. If you want a better job, if you want more money, go and get a better job. That's the argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get a better job if you don't like it. Get a better job.
Yeah.
You know what? Like what I noticed as well, coming back, is that the whole thing in the last 10 years has been the rich have been getting richer and the poor have been getting poorer. And I think when you have less to lose, the likelihood of solidarity decreases as well. So it suits governments, especially the kind of populist kind of bullshit that we got now. It suits them when people have less to lose because they stop giving a fuck about each other quite so much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I do welcome people. At the same time, I do welcome people. All of a sudden now they do care about our cleaners, our fucking people who are working on fucking at the NHS, like the porters, the nurses, the doctors, even the people who work in the kitchens, like just the regular ass fucking people who are just like us, just trying to make our way in the fucking world and just trying to get on and be nice and be cool and not have no beef or any drama. Who wants to live paycheck to fucking paycheck? And that comes back to, obviously we're going to be wrapping this up pretty soon, but this comes back to the whole thing. If people got paid properly, if these big companies pay their fair share of fucking tax, there would be no reason to be furloughing and going for fucking employment fucking checks and all shit like that. People would have enough money to be able to go, you know what? Let's get through this. And if it gets to a point where people's savings are getting depleted, then we can, we can help you guys. But no, there's nothing like that. So
that's a
all on themselves.
The question.
Margaret Thatcher said it best in the 80s in a magazine article. She said there's no such thing as society. Like, there's no such thing as society. It's all about the individual. Hate going back to old shit because it's about moving forward and that. But we are here because of that old shit in some ways. But now Boris Johnson has turned around and goes, there is such thing as society. Yeah, motherfucker, because you know these are your voters who you want for your next fucking election or whatnot. So you will say something like that. But maybe it's turning in the right fucking direction.
Let me ask you three guys, you three gentlemen, a question. I think it's a good way to round this up, and then Lewis can do his thing. But after all this is said and done, will this change anything?
Honestly,
who fucking knows, man?
I don't know, mate. Because at the moment, we don't know when these restrictions are going to be lifted. We're going to know in the next not this week, the week after. They're going to have another announcement to say whether or not we're going to get further restrictions. And I think we are. But ain't listening. People are still going to the beach.
I'm saying hypothetically, whenever it ends, whenever that may be, next week, next year, whatever, when we're reflecting back on this time in America, across the world, in England, will it change anything? Will it change the way that the world's governed? Will it change the way that we look after each other?
I think once people know that they can go and get fucking a pint and a fucking burger from Weatherspoons and that again, their fucking perspective change all over again, because they'll be free again. They won't have to stay in the house anymore. People go to the pubs, people go back to the cinema and all that shit. I'd like to think and be an optimistic person and go, yeah, things are going to change, but we've been let down so many fucking times in the past. Like, we've voted, we want to vote for people who we think are going to help us and be right by our best interest. And they've always been disappointed. But obviously now people have got together. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit, but honestly, I think it will go back to status quo sort of style. People will go back to being selfish again. Because motherfuckers are hoarding toilet roll.
Yeah.
It'll take another crazy fucking thing to happen again for motherfuckers to do the same shit again. What will they be hoarding next time? Who knows?
To me,
yeah,
like, I don't like looking at the future now. Everything is more uncertain to me than it's ever been, and I have no idea what to see in what we're gonna in 2021. What situation we're gonna be in? Whether the world is gonna be completely impoverished, whether there's gonna be riots, whether there's gonna be social decay, social disorder, or whether we're all gonna pull together. But I do think definitely there's going to be a world before this and a world after it. In the same way that we had the world before 9/11 and the world after 9/11.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think you could take this and it's a play out of 9/11, and whether this is completely real or complete hoax, it doesn't matter, because it will be taken advantage of, and we're going to see new laws that give more powers that really don't help us. Freedom's taken away in the name of keeping us safe. It's going to be that same old kind of deal. So, yeah, it's going to be a different world after this, and not in our interest. I don't think it'll make people feel more connected to the neighbor or this and that. They might, spiritually feel that, but as far as the conditions they're living under, laws will be changed. They are being changed right now. Power will be consolidated. The fewer people will have more power. The masses will have less freedoms, and it will be in the name of safety and protection. So that's how I see it playing out in the long run.
Wow.
Yeah.
I agree. Lewis?
Wayne, you froze again, man.
What do you think?
Wayne was frozen in the most awkward position on my screen.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think? What's your take, Wimmer? You asked the question,
Mid-strap.
you have an answer?
Yeah, go on, Wayne.
I think it go back to the same business as usual, mate. I think the NHS will get the extra push though. But other than that, I think everything else will go back to normal. It's a dog eat dog world, man. It's a dog eat dog world, and I don't know.
As long as we get football back.
The last show Wisdom and Chains played was London.
Oh shit, that's mad.
And it might be the last show we ever play, and I'm happy with that.
Have you how many shows have you had to cancel since then?
As of now, only 2. Last weekend we were supposed to be in Salt Lake City, and of course that was canceled. And Salt Lake City also had an earthquake out of nowhere. And next weekend, I think we were supposed to be in New York City with H2O, and that was a really good show, sold out real fast.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's canceled. And after that, these shows aren't officially canceled, but we have that run in Europe where one hits the underworld. It was like in June and July. Ypres, Mission Ready, a lot of club shows throughout Europe. I'm positive all of that will most likely be canceled from what I could tell, right?
Yeah, I don't see even if they lift the restrictions, I think they're going to stop overseas travel. I don't think you can get a bunch of people traveling from country to country for a while now.
Yeah, and I bet there's some new restriction laid out anyway, that you have a new documentation that is more international has to be shown. Maybe even health records have to be shown in order to fly. Something will change, but let's say none of that even happens. Let's just say this goes on for 2 months, and then it stops. Venues will take a huge hit. A lot of them will close down. The ones who will remain open will have new legislation where they have to have hand sanitizer area. They have to break up groups. Capacity has to be lessened. And then the general public will be more scared in general to go out for probably 2 years after this, to go to big events and big crowds. And it's going to be live music and live events is going to take a nosedive. It already took a nosedive, but it would even be dead after it starts up again. Plus, every active band is going to try to hit the road to make up for lost time as soon as they can, but there just won't be people having the money for that or really even the will. You know, I think shit'll be dead for a while, you know.
I mean,
well,
for us, Ironed Out, we're supposed to have a show on the 3rd of April, Camden Rock show. I don't think that's going ahead. That's supposed to be this Friday, isn't it?
That's definitely cancelled.
That's done.
That's done. We had a Ruction show this Friday. That's been done. We got there was a radio show that we had with Revulsion playing. These are basically all the adverts that we've done in the previous episode that we literally put out with Ian Glasper. Big up Ian as well. That was a great episode. Everything that I was put in there for the next shows, they've all been taken out of the fucking game. So me, if I was going to say when is it going to be open for business again, well, not entirely. August, September.
Yeah, I'm saying fall, maybe fall. I think that's safe.
Maybe you know, fall. All the full-time bands like Sick of It All, Madball, Agnostic Front, Terror. Do you think they'll be able to this fund that Trump is? What is it? $1 trillion or whatever? I
don't know, man. If those bands, you know, I don't know how they do business, but if they're on the books, I suppose they can get some kind of compensation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, if you know, if you could show record of being an independent worker, you know, working from like a self-employed person, there are supposed to be benefits in this package. You know, I don't know how these bands seem totally legit to me. I hope they could get hooked up because that's their only thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're gonna really feel it, man. Big time.
Definitely.
Yeah, all these bands. I mean, it's crazy, but you know, even people we know that own venues. This is like a devastating thing for those people. You know.
What about Chris Mahmood and Reverb?
Yeah. This is going to be hard on him. This is going to be very hard. I think there's something in the package that might be able to help small businesses like his, but I'm not positive, and it's only from what I heard. But we'll see, man.
Do you have to pay it back?
If you supposedly there's a stipulation if you're a small business and you take out a small business loan, and you show that you use portions of the money to maintain your workers' payroll, like you didn't lay anybody off, and you used it to pay bills during this 4-month period, that's the first part of the bill, then you don't have to pay back the loan, supposedly. Okay. But if you use it for anything else, it's basically a small business loan. You got to make payments and give it back, you know. Wow. I'm sure everybody but us podcast is taking that loan out to pay you guys a salary during this time and to pay your guests. I understand, but I'm not sure how it works over there.
Yeah, we've put it in the package, man. You have to speak to Mitch McConnell about that, though. Sadly.
Yo, you said you had Ian on the podcast.
Yeah, we had Ian Glasper from Stamping Ground on. Yeah.
Yo, remember that song "Officer Down"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the drums in that song? Yo, I used to love that, man.
He talks about the drummer Aid. Apparently he's a really good guitarist as well.
Really?
Like a wizard, like another Mav. Apparently.
It's always those guys. They got all the talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Listen to Wema. He knows, motherfucker. He played the piano, bass. He dances really well. Come on.
It's a walking caricature. Right. We wrap this up, man. Richie, thank you so much for coming on and lending us your time.
Respect.
Yeah, thanks, Richie, man.
We wish you well.
Thank you, guys.
But I just wanted to quickly say thank you to all our listeners and that legit, really appreciate the support. Obviously, all the likes, the shares, the views. And of course, in these uncertain times, just follow what's right, stick to the guidelines, 2 meters apart, stay indoors if you feel sick. If anyone close to you can't get out because they feel sick, if you can help them in any way, then do that. Be the good community person and be that good Samaritan for someone who might need your help. But above all, stay safe, keep the faith, and of course, keep it hardcore because that's what we're all about. Stay safe, everyone. This is Everyone But Us. Respect.
Bye.
Later.
You're listening to the Everyone But Us podcast, straight from the heart of London.